All right. And we are live. Ladies and
Sweet.
gentlemen, welcome, whether you're live or watching after the fact or listening after the fact. 4/4 of a Whole Idiot, the podcast, season 3, part 4, episode 2, the final chapter. Taking after Attack on Titan, my name is Noah Druin, the Dark Overlord of this here establishment, joined by the amazing Austin Specht. I said hello. I said the amazing, and everybody perked up, like, "Oh, who's it gonna be?" Austin Specht is here. Hello.
Naturally. I knew it was going to be me personally, but we're back. We're back.
Well, what are my
And
adjectives?
well, I guess since you just spoke, we'll go to bottom right guy, Kevin McDermott. Say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
Excellent. And joining us for the very first time, Mr. James Isaac Rooney.
What's up? An honor. Yep, James Isaac Rooney here in the blood and flesh.
The blood and flesh. He is here. He has been doing a lot of great stuff for 4QWI behind the scenes, and also some substantial MLB related blog posts on our website 4QWI.com. Jay, you got something else cooking, don't you? Coming up soon?
Got some awards predictions coming out. Hopefully in the next day or two, with award season kicking off. I think on Monday, with the Manager of the Year award starting then, and then Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP. So exciting stuff.
Amazing work you provide for us. We're so glad you were here. We may people eventually have 5 people hosting the show. Some technical difficulties held us back, but right now it's us 4. This is like the 3rd or 4th different iteration of this podcast over the years, and somehow Specht and I stand alone as the only OGs.
Goddamn right.
One of us has to go next. Who's it gonna be? So before we get into the meat of the show, reminder you can follow the podcast on Twitch live right now, 4QWIHQ. We post our VODs on YouTube, and you can also find the podcast the next day on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. We have a pretty action-packed show today, and we're going to try to get through this all in 1.5 hours and make that the new standard. We will see how we do. Last week, we did not, but we're going to try this week. We're going to talk about some Thursday Night Football, general NFL news, maybe talking about how good or bad the quarterback position is in the National Football League between now and previously. And we're going to do pick'ems, right? Specht, are you doing that, or are we just going to pick some random games, or how are we doing that?
We'll run down the schedule.
Excellent. Alrighty. Well, let's get it going then. Last night we had a football game.
We
Unfortunately.
Sure
Did we?
The 1-7 Carolina Panthers take on to the 2-7 Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears eke out a nail biter of a 16-3 victory. Between all of us, how much time did we dedicate to watching this game last night?
0 minutes.
Yeah, 0 minutes.
Like actively or like second screen?
Actively, we'll start with that.
Probably like 10 or 15 minutes.
So let's talk about it then. I'm gonna bring up the box score, but if anybody has, and I'll share this with you guys as we're talking, I'll put it on the screen over here on the new patented 4QWI screen share technology screen. Amazing. Check that out, people. What do we think about the game? What does this mean for the future of the NFL in terms of possible first overall pick coming in the 2024 draft? What are people's thoughts? Carolina Panthers fall to 1-8.
Yeah, this is the very definition of a tank bowl, and the only reason why the Arizona Cardinals were not invited is because Kyler Murray is coming back, and he's probably gonna pump those numbers up for the Cardinals. I feel like, which may or may not be a good thing for them, but I think the Bears should have thrown, like I've said before, they should have thrown so that they could keep both those picks nice and tight to each other.
Yeah, I mean, they have control of both of these picks, which is a crazy thing. But yeah, I do think the Bears maybe should have thrown, but
Yeah, I definitely think the outcome should try to be 1 and 2. I think that's like the ideal outcome for the Bears. because they need help. They need help. I have faith in Bryce Young. I don't have faith in Justin Fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have something to say, Kev?
Well, I was gonna say too. I mean, speaking to Bryce Young, I feel like it's too early to judge him, right? We had Trevor
Oh,
Lawrence come in,
yeah.
and that first season was atrocious. So let's keep it a let's keep the pitchforks down. Let him get through a
Yeah.
season.
Oh, that's bright. Let me do a different one.
I think the
That's
just
also
the
bright.
craziest thing is just how good Stroud has been playing.
Yeah.
Crazy. And
And
he was the quarterback everyone tried calling an idiot. Was it like because
Mhm.
he like sucked on that test or whatever?
yeah, and I think just with how good he is playing, I think people are forgetting how not good rookies tend to be in their season. I think Bryce Young is definitely getting a lot more hate than he probably deserves due to how good Stroud has been playing.
Yeah.
Well, I also am a firm believer, and I've said this for years, that Alabama quarterbacks just aren't very good. And Tua and half of Jalen Hurts, because I consider him an OU quarterback, kind of changed that. But I mean, like AJ McCarron blows, Mac Jones blows. AJ McCarron's probably not even in the league anymore. Most Alabama quarterbacks typically suck. So I want to give him time because Tua wasn't that amazing. Kevin said Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields has had time, and he still is questionable. He has flashes, but like in my head, he's bottom bin. I mean, he's down there.
Yeah. Did you see that video that came out not too long ago where it was pretty much like it was against the Bucks where Justin Fields, it was the camera from behind him, and he had like four open
Oh yes,
receivers,
Yeah,
and he
yes,
throws a
yes,
pick right down the middle,
yes.
and it's like, all right, I think he's done. The experiment's over.
it was so bad, and
Yeah.
he was actually taunting um Bryce on the sideline yesterday. Like there was a glimpse where the camera was on him and he was saying like roll tide to Bryce Young. It's just like kind of wild that that's coming from Justin Fields of all people. Like you haven't really done anything to be able to deserve to do that.
Yeah, especially when you're going up against the worst team in the league and you put up 162 passing yards.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I
W-
I just don't
Wasn't
see
it?
how you're
Wasn't it?
taunting.
It was Bajan who
Yeah,
played
it was
yesterday.
Bajan.
Yeah.
But those
Or
could be
Bajan.
Justin Fields numbers. I
Yeah.
mean,
Very easily.
they add a couple more rushing yards, but I mean, the fact that Tyson Bagent, who was playing games last year against like the Colorado Institute of Mines or whatever the hell, Utah,
Colorado
or
School of
whatever.
Mines, baby. Golden
That's
Colorado.
it.
I know all about that now.
So the fact that he's coming in and doing not that much worse than Justin Fields usually does.
Well, let's take a look. You guys can see the Google Chrome screen, right?
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
okay. Good. This is helping. Here's his splits for the season on the amount of games that he's played, which he's played. I don't know if this game against Minnesota was a start or not. Did he come in relief for this game? I don't remember, but
Probably,
we have
you can just look at the number of attempts, right? Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
game he played, I'm almost positive was like a substitution,
right.
and he came in after Fields got hurt. So yes. And again, I don't think anyone expects this kid to be good at all.
No.
I'm shocked he even made the league. Well, he didn't. He didn't get drafted. I'm pretty sure he was undrafted. But that's the best backup quarterback they could get. I find that hard to believe. And there's people
Yeah,
like
that's
Carson.
kind of wild.
Yeah, there's people like Carson Wentz still out there. I know Matt Ryan's kind of old, but he was an option. I know that they say supposedly Carson Wentz is like some locker room cancer, but I just have a feeling that he's better than this guy.
I'm dead locked in on those QBR ratings on the side.
It's insane.
Oh,
18!
ooh. I didn't see that.
I didn't realize what it was because it was so bad.
His highest is 72. Oh,
It's not good.
And it could be worse yet. Still, like,
Oh, let's see. Can we see some
There's-
Justin Fields numbers?
yeah, we can. Give me a sec.
I'm curious. I bet he's hanging out more around the 80s, but I bet he has a
Yeah.
couple. I bet he has a couple 60s in there.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Well, we don't
Yeah.
really count the Minnesota game, but he's got a 15, a 20, a 20.
Ooh.
That's almost worse.
Yeah,
It
their QB
is.
situation
Well,
is
let's see.
horrible.
With the exception of
51.1
Denver.
QBR.
Oh my God.
Bajan's got a 14 higher QBR over Justin Fields over here.
Tyson
And-
Bagent is the future.
I guess so.
It's interesting to observe this too, because and I don't know any like of the official statistics, but the Chicago Bears as an organization has never had a good a franchise quarterback that is like Hall of Fame worthy. I don't know if there is a single quarterback that spent most of their career in Chicago that is now in Canton. I can't think of one.
That's because they're robbing my man.
I'm sure
Rex
there's some that played in
Grossman.
like the 30s that won like 3 NFL championships.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
you
I bet
know?
there was some dude who like worked in the mines in the off season or something. You know, who threw for like 6,000 yards a year or something like that. Well, it was really funny. I think they said it on like the Pat McAfee show. I bet the Bears fans are like dreaming that they had Jay Cutler still. Like, and isn't that sad?
He
Like,
could be the best quarterback they've ever had.
Yeah.
I
And
love
it's
this.
crazy.
When you Google when you Google Chicago Bears quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame, it's all like black and white photos that come up,
Yeah.
and then at the very bottom right corner, it just has Aaron Rodgers because he fucking owns them, dog.
Oh man. All right. Well, in the interest of time here, we could shit on the Chicago Bears all we want. They did get that win. We see the Panthers now, going down that 1-8 path. Say they do get that first overall pick, what becomes of Bryce Young? Final thoughts on that?
Well, the Bears.
I mean,
would get
it's
it.
the Bears
have
pick.
their pick.
The Bears would get it. You're right.
Yeah, they are
Right.
committed to Bryce Young, so we're gonna see at least the second season of him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just feel like that's such bad front office management to draft someone second. It's not like he was drafted. What was Lamar? Lamar was like the 31st or second, 32nd pick in the draft. Like, that's different. This guy's the second pick in the draft, and within a year, you're just going to dump him. I don't think he's going to be that much better, like, going forward, but I at least think he needs to have a little time.
Yeah.
And I think if the Bears get the number 1 pick, I mean, I think the league might light itself on fire if they don't draft Caleb Williams first overall.
And let's also give Bryce Young some grace. I mean, let's look at this. Jonathan Mingo, Tommy Tremble. I mean, Hayden Hurst has never been anything like that. Carolina offense is not looking very, very top heavy at all. Adam Thielen's obviously like the star player here, and I'm glad he's having a pretty solid season. But what else?
Yeah.
What else can Mr. Bryce Young throw to?
I thought he was throwing to Michael Strahan at the top, but it says stretch and
Mike Strachan.
he gave
the-
Adam. Yeah, that's not what I thought he would look like.
He has one catch.
Attaboy. He's given Adam Thielen a little career revival. Adam Thielen was pretty meh in his last final years in the Vikings.
That's a solid ass season my man's having.
He's having a great year for
he
how
is.
bad the Panthers are, especially.
I mean, I'm sure he's fantasy wide receiver like 16, 15, around there probably, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Anything else, Specht?
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on the Bears getting that pick because I think that Justin Fields is probably just about done at least on the Bears. I don't know if they'll trade him. I think someone might take someone like him just because he does show those flashes. But I think surely that if they get 1-2, which might not be possible at this rate, I feel like if they win another 1 or 2 games, then they're probably out of the first pick race. But they definitely need more help than Bryce Young than Bryce Young has. Surely the Bears pick a quarterback and if they get 1-2, which I don't think they will again, and they get Marvin Harrison Jr., that'd be amazing, and I think that would turn that team around. That'd be nuts. But I just don't think they'll get the first pick anymore. For some reason, they just refuse to lose, which they really should just lose.
Yeah, which I mean, like, I think outside of this game, the Cardinals should be losing. Get a good, take that first number 1 pick. Maybe you can trade it off and because they realistically they should be sticking with Kyler Murray. They just paid him. They kind of have to. No one's going to take that contract, so you're kind of stuck. But I say, they need to get that number 1 pick so they can either trade it off or they can take, a good like what's his name? Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, if they have Marvin
yeah.
Harrison Jr., that'd be gross.
Yeah. I like they should be losing, but I think Kyler's going to come back and then he's going to kind of see it as like a prove myself and he has to prove that he's worth the contract and then they're going to start winning some games and then it's going to be Panthers Bears at the bottom of the barrel. Patriots are going to compete for them.
Yeah. Giants will probably be down there too.
I was gonna say no one ever talks about the Giants being in the mix, but they're like what, a game off of the first pick?
I think
they're pretty close.
2-6 or 2-7 as
And,
well.
and then there's the Patriots too. I mean, the Patriots could very well get that pick, and if the Patriots get number 1, surely they draft a quarterback. I don't even care who it is, as long as they draft a quarterback.
They should, but he's going to trade it off.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said that a few weeks ago.
That's my biggest fear, is that we get the number 1 pick. Bill's going to trade it away for sure.
And it's a valid pick. It is a valid take. I mean, I bet he would. Honestly, I believe that he would.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're talking about him losing his job. I just have a hard time believing that anybody's going to fire Bill Belichick or trade him or whatever. But I keep seeing articles about it, how Bill Belichick's going to lose his job if they lose in Germany tomorrow, Sunday. And I just have a hard time believing it. I don't think it's going to happen, but apparently a lot of people do.
Yeah, in mid-season, no less.
I mean, who replaces him? Mayo?
Yeah,
probably. Or well, no, because he's not around to make his son put in charge. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, we talked a bit about kind of the bottom of the barrel and the teams that might potentially, be vying for that number 1 overall draft pick. But one of the things we wanted to make sure we got to today, entering Week 10, is our top 10 power rankings for the NFL entering Week 10. For those of you watching live or on YouTube, we have standings up right now for the AFC and NFC and kind of where teams are sitting right now record-wise. For the top, like Inspect said this before the show started, top 8 probably looking rather similar in terms of which teams are there. But I think 9 and 10, I'm curious to see what people are thinking. And so I think maybe should we start with number 1, work down, or what are we thinking?
I definitely think that's the more exciting way, because if you don't have a certain team at number 1, I'll be shocked, like really shocked. So,
all right. Well, let's start with you, Spect, and then we'll go up to Jay and Kev, and then myself. Let's hear this order here.
Alrighty. So I went a little spicy once I get to 4, and I have my reasoning. But Eagles 1 is, I think, the obvious choice. After murdering the Seahawks, I have the Ravens at 2, the Chiefs at 3, and now when I think of power rankings, I think of who's hot right now, not the whole season. I think of who's hot right now, who wouldn't I want to face. So I put the Bengals at 4, just because they ripped apart their last few games, and Joe Burrow's playing like the best quarterback in the league. Jags 5, just because I like the Jags. That might be a little biased. Lions 6. Honestly, those could swap 5-6. I put the Dolphins at 7 just because they do still have my MVP candidate in Tyreek. I then have San Fran at 8 because they are sliding, but they are still San Francisco. And then my 9, again, I kind of alluded to this last week. The Cleveland Browns I have at 9 just because that defense is just nuts, and I think it's going to be a crazy low-scoring game against the Ravens, who also have probably the one single better defense in the league. And then I have the Cowboys at 10, just because. And then honorable mention to the Bills, the Saints, the Seahawks. Seahawks could have been in there, but they got murdered. So I went with the Cowboys just because they're crazy talented, and I think they should pull out a nice little last few wins here in the second half.
Excellent.
Right.
Valid.
Take it away, Jay.
Respect that. So, I mean, I guess I'm going to start things off spicy here with number 1. I actually had the Ravens at number 1.
Oh, baby.
Noah is rock hard right now.
No, I said Eagles, Ravens, or I had the Ravens and Chiefs in my AFC Championship game. I like the Ravens, but
What
yeah.
a Super Bowl, man. That'd be nuts.
Yeah, I think they're very close. I love that defense so much. I mean, you've got the number one pass defense. They have the most sacks in the league, and then you've got Lamar Jackson at the helm. Like, I feel like they just have the ability to control ball games so well, and I give them a slight, very, very slight edge over the Eagles. So again, I've got the Eagles at 2, the Chiefs at 3. And then this might be a little bit biased just because I love the Lions so much, but I have them at number 4. I think
Ooh.
them winning against the Chiefs week 1, like I just think they deserve so much respect. I love what Dan Campbell's doing out there. And Jared Goff at home is apparently one of the best quarterbacks in the league. On the road, not so much though, but so I think getting one of those top 2 seeds for the Lions will be really important if they want to be successful in the playoffs in the NFC. Then I've got the Bengals at 5. Again, they're very hot right now. Joe Burrow looks healthy, and that offense is just so great when he's doing what he's doing. Jaguars at 6. 49ers at 7. I think they're slightly better than the Dolphins, who I have at 8. And then, very similar to Austin, I have the Browns at 9. That defense is elite, and Watson has been a bit shaky this year, but I think he can win ball games with that defense. And then the Cowboys at 10.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm bringing it back to that Lions stat with Jared Goff being great at home. Is it just me, or like throughout all the years we've been watching the NFL, the Lions just like sling at Ford Field? It's always like high scoring, 500-yard games. They're just both teams are going off for some reason at Ford Field. I don't know what it is. Something's in the water over there.
All right.
Some
Are you
Lions, man.
you got some top 10 for us, Kevin?
Me? All right. Well, I think the Eagles are a lock at 1 because, like Spec said, it's pretty much like who's hot, who do you not want to play, and I think the Eagles have been consistently the team you do not want to play. For 2, I would very much not like to play the Chiefs. I think they're scary. They're turning back into the Chiefs, even though they have been weak. Their record is not weak, and their last 5 have also not been weak. So I think you got to put some respect on their name again and keep them at 2. I do like the shout of putting the Ravens high now. I like seeing them at 3. They're very hot. I mean, they destroyed the Seahawks like we all saw. Number 4, I think we're all riding with the Lions. I like seeing them that high. I really want them to make an NFC championship. That would be cool. Number 5, I feel like Spec was saying, the Bengals, they are extremely dangerous right now. They turned it around. They consistently beat good teams. Took out the Niners and the Bills recently. I feel like those are going to be 2 of the most dangerous teams when it comes to playoff time. Bills might be backtracking on that though, unfortunately. Number 5, probably the Jags. They've been playing well. I haven't watched too many of their games, so I don't have much more to say than that, but we'll put them at 5. Number 6, I kind of want to have a weird shout here. I know they just took a hit, but the Vikings are 4-1 in the last 5.
Hold on.
Yeah. What?
At number 6?
Yeah.
All right, it's your list, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At number 6, because like Spec said, it's who is hot right now. The Dolphins should be hot right now, but
They can't beat a damn
they
good team.
can't
Hey.
beat a damn team over 500.
if the season ended today, the Vikings are in the playoffs. So
Love
That's
it.
wild.
Love it. I
Exactly.
love the Vikings so
They're
much.
hot right now. That's all that matters. Literally 2 days from now, they might not be hot, but but right now, I'm riding the hot hand. Um, number, what are we at? Number 7. Uh, man. Number 7. Let's go with the Cowboys. Like last week, we're going off the top of my head. Number 8.
couldn't tell, Kev.
Yeah, the Browns. We're going with the
Oh,
Browns at
fooled me.
number 8.
Have you said the Lions yet?
Yeah.
He had him
they're
at
number
4, I think.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you
Um,
said 5 twice, if I'm being honest, but
Whatever.
He's doing his best.
Dolphins 9. Steelers 10.
that's a take. The
Did you say
Steel-
49ers at some point?
I did.
Okay.
I feel like you listed off 14 teams for 10 lists.
Same.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Everyone else is high on the Steelers. I saw it on like Get Up, I think it was. They were talking about how that all 4 of those teams might make the playoffs, and I was like, the Steelers blow, man. Maybe it's just because I own Najee Harris, and I don't own him. I'm gonna retract that wording. But I have him on fantasy, and he just sucks when I don't play him, or when I do play him, and he's good when I don't play him. So I'm biased.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Go back up to the AFC East here, or no, AFC North. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure they're
look
in
at
the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they're in the playoffs if it ended today.
Well, yeah, they are in the playoffs, but I'm more talking about the fact with our shout here, Spec, the Bengals have a win streak of 4 going on right now. They're on
They
the up.
do.
Yeah, they would.
would.
Because isn't the stat nuts? It's like, if you go 0-3 or something like that, or 1-2 or whatever, like you have like a 2% chance to make the playoffs. I just feel like that's so dramatic. But apparently history backs that stat up.
Yeah, they're coming though. They're coming.
And I feel like it was kind of the same thing last year with the Bengals too. Like they started off really slow. Everybody was like, "Oh, they're dead," and then they went on a hot streak.
Yeah.
No, it was
they're
like the
doing right
exact
now.
same thing. Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, I
All
think
right.
we all want both the
Do you-
Bengals and the Vikings in the playoffs because who doesn't want to watch like Jay Jettas and Chase just bombing people down?
you
know?
mean Josh Dobbs running people over?
Josh Dobbs tossing up bombs.
I almost said looking like a Cy Young candidate. That's not what I meant.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right, Noah, do you have an exciting list as well?
Not really. I think number 10 I'm
Ooh.
kind of stewed on. We'll probably talk a little bit more about Dobbs and a few other miscellaneous pieces of NFL news this week, but I do have the Eagles at number 1 right now. Purely based off of record and kind of how that team is looking as a full unit. I currently have the Ravens at number 2. I really kind of a 2A and 2B thing, but I think the Ravens are winning games so decisively. I mean, look at that point differential, 115 in the AFC,
That's crazy.
and it's
That's-
actually highest in the league by quite a bit.
That's like- Yeah, like double. Oh no, not double. But Buffalo has a +80. And they're
Yeah,
that
so-
mediocre.
And it's
And
crazy because
so-
the Dolphins put up 70 and they let Denver still get what, like 30? So
yeah. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, no. So like, the Ravens have also decisively beaten the Lions and Seahawks, both of which are teams that one of which is currently somewhere in the top 8 or so for us, some even higher potentially for the Lions. The Seahawks are right now fighting for first place in the NFC West. I'm not going to be mentioning them in my top 10, but I think we'd all agree they're somewhere in that top 12 range probably at this point in
For
time.
sure.
And so I have the Ravens at number 2. I have the Chiefs at number 3. They would be number 1 if they didn't lose to the Broncos. I know freak things happen, and I just don't understand how that loss happens. They'd be 8-1 and potentially number 1 with the Eagles, but they're not. Their defense is one of the best in the league. Someone pointed that out the other day. So-
Fantasy wise, yes.
Correct.
That was Brett. Yes.
So, I mean, even look, 143 points against, just eyeballing it, that's second least in AFC, third least.
Yeah.
I think just behind the Ravens, so that says something. in
Yeah.
terms of who they've been playing. I think a win against the Dolphins was very important for the Chiefs to regain credibility. I do have the Dolphins at number 4 only because of what they've accomplished already this season. They're probably going to be slipping pretty quickly for me, but I think they do deserve some credit for the season they've been having. And losing a game to the Chiefs, I don't think knocks them down too much in my book. They were down 21-0, but they made that competitive. I do have the Bengals at number 5. I'm excited to see the hot streak they're on. I think it's going to end up going to be a shootout between them and the Ravens for top of the North. I think the Ravens have too much of a lead to maybe seed that first place spot in the North, but love seeing the Bengals in the position they're in. They're looking lethal right now, and a win over the Bills says a lot.
Well, I mean,
Jaguars at
look
number
they only have a game, right? Because
Yeah, they're
look,
playing.
they still have the bye.
right.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So I have the Jaguars at number 6, 5-game win streak. Says a lot about them as well. I have my doubts about how far they'll be able to get in the playoffs. I think they'll win the South. They made the playoffs last year. I believe they lost in the divisional round. I think that might be where they're going this season. But at least right now, they're one of the hottest teams in the league. That's indisputable. So I think they earn a spot there. I have the Lions at number 7. I have the 49ers at 8. They're going to move up pretty quickly, I think. A lot of that relies on Brock Purdy's play, and I don't think a couple of bad games should make us view that team too poorly. You can look at the Bengals and how poorly Joe Burrow was playing. Sometimes quarterbacks just have streaks. I don't know why, but I think with that defense, along with a healthy offense, the 49ers are likely a Super Bowl contender. Well, they are a Super Bowl contender still. I don't think that's up for debate. The final 2 spots, there's a couple teams I'd throw in there. I like to meme on them. I do have the Cowboys at number 9. Like, they're obviously going to be making the playoffs in some form or fashion and promptly exit in the wild card round like they always do. Dak is not it. He can win some games in the regular season, but he is not a playoff quarterback, and I stand by that. The day they make the NFC Championship is the day I am not alive to see it. I haven't been alive to see one, and that is going to continue this season. And finally, number 10 was kind of a toss-up. I'm thinking long-term in teams that kind of have the pedigree to make it far, or at least far enough to earn a playoff spot. I do have the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen himself is not having a great season, but that is also one of the more complete teams, and I think the Bills they'll figure it out. They'll be fine. And plus 80-point differential, I wasn't aware they had until we looked at this. That's pretty impressive, and I think that speaks to the type of team that they have. They just need to figure some things out.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
The Bills, man, they're one blown pass interference call away from being 4-5 against they almost lost to the Giants. And then
Yeah.
they lost to the Pats. That's bad. But they're one of those teams that, like, I still wouldn't want to face them. If imagine it'd be like the Heat making the 8 seed. Like, if the Bills sneak in as like the last wild card, like, what a shit ass matchup that would be for whoever has to face them, because they're still the Bills, like you said. They are still the Bills.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
They could have been in a real tough spot if they lost that game to the Bucks, which was one score.
oh yeah,
game,
they were close with that game too.
3-game losing
Mhm.
streak.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough look. Could have been a
It-
5-game losing streak. Holy shit.
And then they murder the Dolphins, which, I mean, I think that says more about the Dolphins than it does the Bills, personally.
Yeah.
As I've been saying that for weeks. But now going off script real quick, we all had the Ravens super high up. DraftKings now has Lamar Jackson as the leader in odds for MVP. Do you guys vibe with that? Because he's not even top 5 in passing yards or touchdowns. Tua has both of those.
Let's take a look. I mean, let's check
I feel
out
like
the...
you do have to give him credit. He does run, so his passing stats are always going to be a little lower. But he only has like 400 yards, 450 yards, which for a QB is a lot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's just if they do as good as we think they're going to do, then he'll probably win it because he's their quarterback. But I don't know. I want to see some better stats.
Yeah, I mean, he's on track to maybe just barely throw 20 touchdowns. If that, I think it'd be kind of wild for a guy to not even throw 20 touchdowns and win MVP.
Yeah, how many
Yeah, I
does
mean,
Tua
what
have?
was-
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, this was his MVP season here. He had 36 touchdowns to 6
Yeah.
interceptions, 3,100
Yeah.
yards.
Tua
Someone
has-
mentioned Tua.
Tua has 20 touchdowns right now to 19. So he's one Tyreek Hill route away from having 20. And I just think if Tyreek Hill gets 2,000 yards and doesn't win it, I just feel like that is so disrespectful.
Yeah, I I completely agree. I mean, I don't see Lamar. Like, why would we give it to him? Just because they have a good record? Okay, give it to
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts then, because they're number one.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lamar is plus 350 and Tua is plus 500 on DraftKings right now.
that's
Which
Yeah.
kind
is
of crazy.
Yeah,
that's
and
wild, right? That's what I thought.
if we just look at the team stats, now this doesn't, because it's team, it's hard to tell. They are first in rushing yards per game at 160. How many yards per game Lamar has for rushing, I don't know, but they're 20th in passing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the main job of a QB.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at the other stats for their defense: second in yards, second in passing yards, eighth in rushing, first in points. So I think you can see who's doing a lot of the heavy lifting with that team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
To be fair though, Tua probably has one of I'm not going to say the best, but one of the best wide receiver duos. Lamar doesn't have that. Zay Flowers is fine. You know, he's good. He's probably the upper half of wide receivers.
Mm.
But he, if Lamar Jackson had Tyreek Hill, I bet he'd have 19 touchdowns right now too. I still agree that he's no MVP candidate. I would take Stroud as an MVP candidate over Lamar this year. Although
Yeah.
Lamar is very good, but I just
Yeah,
saw
he-
that. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, your top three receivers are Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Nelson Aguilar is your number
Aguilar.
three on that team, and then OBJ somehow.
Look at the reception difference though, 45 to 18. That's insane.
Yeah,
He's just
so
flinging that thing to Mark Andrews.
well, and this is the thing I was saying last week. Like I keep saying, like I am high on the Ravens. That's no secret. I think Zay Flowers was one of the last things the Ravens really needed is an actual good receiver who is not Nelson Aguilar or
Yeah.
OBJ. And I can't remember many other wide receivers they've had over the years that have been one rosterable in fantasy football and two like an actual good asset to the team. And I
They
think
had
Zay
Brown,
Flowers
like, 2
unlocks
years
that
ago.
Say
offense.
Hollywood Brown. They
Oh.
traded Hollywood Brown and that
They
was so
did.
weird. They just dumped him.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, their defense allows Lamar to kind of do what he does best, which is I feel like he can extend drives really well and help the
Yes.
Ravens dominate the time of possession. But I just don't think with those stats he's worthy of being the
No.
MVP.
And DraftKings disagrees. I was shocked. I had to bring it up.
all right, boys.
Case closed.
Any final thoughts on top 10 power rankings? I think we have a couple of quick things that we'll gloss over for NFL news, and then we'll kind of move on from there. But any other final thoughts on how the league's looking right now?
No, I think nature is healing. We have the teams that should be good starting to play good again. There are some that should be good and are falling off, but I think a lot of those were due to injuries and they're getting bye weeks and all that. I think it's all pretty much going to come to exactly where we thought the season was going to end.
Mm.
Well,
So-
Maybe
I'm curious. Jay, you weren't here last week. I don't know if you put much thought into this, but at least for your 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl, do you have teams in mind on who you think would what those games will
Ooh.
be? Just for consistency's sake.
Quick take. AFC. I think AFC right now it has to be Chiefs or Ravens. Maybe Bengals over one of those teams, but I think right now Chiefs, Ravens. I want to say Eagles, Lions, but I feel like it's more likely to be Eagles, 49ers, and then
Kevin's
I
screaming
honestly-
right now.
I honestly could very easily see a rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
That's what I picked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that if I had to pick right now, that would be my take. As good as I think the Ravens are, Mahomes' playoff experience and that team in the playoffs are just so good. I have a tough time thinking that anybody in the AFC can take them out right now.
And that kind of informs my opinion on these things too, especially for the Super Bowl matchup. It's it goes without saying, but regular season teams that are good do not necessarily translate to good playoff teams. Cowboys, comes to mind immediately. Just saying. But no, like once you get down to the nitty gritty and you're on that final stretch of the season, and those lights are super bright. No, it's not often you have a quarterback like that is going to be able to just like rise to the occasion necessarily in their first run with the team. It's happened before, but I think that is where you see quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes just winning games in the way that he does in the playoffs because he's been there, and I think that's really important.
And he turns into a whole nother beast in the playoffs too. Like,
yeah, Brett. I'm pretty sure Brett had the Bengals in the Super Bowl, which I thought was.
I did. That was me.
I know you did too, but I'm pretty sure I think Brett did as well.
I
That's wild. I mean, I think that'd be insane. That'd be just one of the best. Joe Burrow should get MVP just if Joe, because they ain't gonna win without Joe. If Joe drags them to the Super Bowl, my God, that's insane.
Yeah, I think honestly, looking at this right now, if there's one team I think could take out the Chiefs in the playoffs and make the Super Bowl over them, I think it's the Bengals.
The Bengals and the Jags have both low-key had the Chiefs number the last few times. The Jags just haven't won, but they're like, I'm pretty sure in that divisional round it was pretty close, like one score. They beat them once in the regular season. Joe at least beats them pretty consistently. So
I think he's 3-1 against them.
Yeah.
So I
my
like the
brain
Bengals
says
here.
Chiefs. My heart says Bengals.
Honestly, same. I would love to see the Bengals go back to the Super Bowl and actually win it this time.
My heart wants a Bengals Lions Super Bowl.
Imagine.
That'd be amazing.
It is a core memory for me as a sports fan as long as I live. AFC Championship 2022, Chiefs Bengals, and I was at the gym watching the game, and like it was just on the TV, and I scrambled to get home, and I remember watching, I think it was Evan McPherson kicked a field goal to ice the game, and I was like screaming, and Morgan didn't understand, and I was like, you don't understand how weird it is to see the Bengals not only going to the Super Bowl but beating the Chiefs to do it. Like I was sitting like crisscross on my floor, just like staring at the TV. It was such a cool moment. I love the Bengals, and my heart says them too. But
because the Bengals that we know, we spent like a decade watching the Bengals get into the playoffs and immediately lose. Every single time Andy Dalton would get them there, and then they would just lose without fail. Like it was something like crazy, like 6 years in a row or 5 years in a row. They like had a home playoff game or something, and they just couldn't do it. And I love Andy. I was a big Andy guy back in the day, but man, I mean, look at that! Look at that, dude. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
and look at those two: 12-4, 10-5, 11-5, 10-6. Those are all home playoff games in the wild card.
Yes, they were good, man. AJ Green was such a dog.
Oh,
he
man.
was.
Is this TJ Huzmanzada? Remember him?
That's class.
Wow.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Yeah,
Was that when Tyler Eifert was around too?
Tyler Eifert, baby.
I think he was later.
A little later, yeah.
He was somewhere around here.
Oh, I see. I thought he was after them. I thought he was like AJ Green was well done by the time Tyler Eifert came.
Our Tyler Eifert moment in the original iteration of the podcast, I think, was 2015. Yeah, here he is. Because we were talking about his cone drills. Oh, no, he was around actually before that. I just missed him on the last screen. 2013 was Tyler Eifert's rookie season. All right, we're getting off course here, people. We're going to Cincinnati Bengals football reference.
Nothing's more important than the Cincinnati Bengals lore, all right?
Oh, man. I will, just to conclude this segment of the show, it is an exciting season. It's cool to see kind of how the season's shaping out. And I think as I get older, I appreciate, playoff season even more. Because sometimes we get those random teams. Like, seeing the Titans in the AFC Championship like 4 years ago was the weirdest thing. They did not win, but it's like you never know what teams might come out of nowhere and make it happen. So going down the final stretch, it's going to be an exciting last couple months of the regular season. So leading up to that part of the season, we did have some interesting storylines come out of last week rather, and I want to quickly discuss kind of quick point by point here with you guys and what you think these specific things mean for all of these teams we're about to talk about. The first thing I want to definitely talk about, since we all seem to have a love for the Vikings as well, is Joshua Dobbs coming in relief for a game he was not supposed to start. against who they play last week, the Falcons,
Yeah.
leading a game-winning drive down the field. Didn't know apparently like most of the names of the offensive linemen. He was teaching them his cadence on the sideline. Like, what does this mean for the Vikings? And my question is like, say the Vikings make the playoffs, Kirk comes back healthy. What is that? Does he just kind of come back into that starting spot? I don't know. What are our thoughts on this situation right now? It's very interesting.
Well, I mean, first off, Kirk's not coming back.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
I don't think he's
totally
coming
is,
back.
He ain't got
this
some
season.
magic juice that Aaron
Oh,
Rodgers
next year.
does.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I thought you meant they make the playoff and Kirk Cousins throws his crutches.
No,
in the
okay,
trash.
yeah, I realized that when I was introing that I was a little vague. I meant like, say the Vikings make the playoffs next season, Kirk's ready to go. What happens? So yeah,
I don't know. If we just look at what did he do? So 20 for 30, 158, 2 touchdown, no interceptions. That's pretty.
Kirk was better.
I mean,
Kirk's
20 for
job
30
is
though.
in no danger.
That
Well,
was
I mean,
only what,
let's-
half a game or something? What? No, that was more than half a game. But I mean, it's not bad.
Kirk was like the third best statistical quarterback before he got hurt. Like I think he's still, after not playing almost that whole time, second in touchdowns.
yeah, he was having a pretty
yeah,
baller
but
season.
He was
I mean-
having like a small mini underappreciated MVP level season. And I think he's fine. He is old though. Old is dramatic, but he is getting up there. Where his age should be on here, surely somewhere.
He's 35.
35.
35.
So 36. I mean, that's not young. I know a lot of people were talking about him getting traded. I could see that happening, but I don't think if Joshua Dobbs is around that he's going to threaten Kirk's job personally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. Although it just is kind of wild, like before Kirk came in, to see like all of these random quarterbacks just kind of come out of nowhere and dominate for the Vikings, and we were seeing a little bit of that with
Yeah.
Dobbs again.
I mean, you actually bring up a good point, because if they didn't let Case Keenum stick around after what he did for them, I don't think they're gonna let Dobbs stick around. But if I was sitting there and Dobbs just put up 150 yards playing schoolyard football in the NFL, pretty much just calling random ass plays and just hoping his receivers got open type deal. If he can learn a playbook and start slinging it, I might consider trading Kirk to get a good pick or a good player, because like Spec said, he did put up those numbers. So I might use that for leverage and run it with the young guy and pick up another quarterback in the draft. You're saying there's like 50 quarterbacks that are NFL ready
There
coming
is.
out of this
You-
draft. So
You could get
why
like a
not?
7th round quarterback this year and probably have them be pretty good.
Yeah.
I could vibe with that. I just don't think that they'd like bench him next year if Dobbs
No.
is still around.
Yeah,
'Cause
I agree.
We
No
need to
bench till
stop.
trade.
I mean, I think weeks ago Brett mentioned something about Dobbs. We got to stop acting like Dobbs is some NFL proven quality. He just finally got a chance. He's been in the league since 2017, and he finally got his first chance to really truly start in Arizona. And he didn't do that amazing. So I mean, he's good. Was it very amazing what he did? Yes. But I just don't think that Kirk's job's in danger. I don't think the league is in danger. I don't know if he could. I mean, it was the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I personally am not hyping it up that much. So I don't know. Josh Dobbs is fine. I mean, I don't know if he's anywhere. I'm baffled. I don't know. I don't
He's
think
so
he's gonna
mean.
go.
Why are you doing this?
He has no hair. I just think I look at him, dude. That
Cancel-
picture's
cancel.
horrible.
It's
Cancel.
not great.
Get him,
Dude.
Get him off the podcast.
I'm
Like, it's his fucking
anti-alopecia. I'm yeah, I don't know. I Josh Dobbs, if he was good, I think we would know. I think that was very impressive. But again, I would like to see him play a whole game, and if he can keep winning like that, then maybe I'll change my tune. But I think we need to pump the brakes.
Yeah, I'm on
All
the
right.
same page.
Yeah.
He's a serviceable backup.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think the real test will be like 3 weeks from now when he
That's-
starts when he should have the playbook down by then.
Well, let's see the
And,
docket. Well, I mean,
yeah,
there's some
what do we got?
layups coming up, boys.
Yeah, some layups, get the warm-ups in, then you got
Saints,
Raiders. Raiders are
Saints
turning it
respectable
around.
team, but
Yeah, Saints are a contested layup, but
Yeah, but Broncos Bears, those are slam dunks, like
Raiders too
nuts
probably.
in the
Gross.
face. Well,
Is
Raiders
this
are turning it around. So
Well,
Sunday
Raiders,
Night
you know,
Football?
I'm shocked that we didn't talk about the Raiders and how like new and improved they look, and they were freaking smoking cigars, and they looked like a whole new team.
Yeah.
And so who knows what the Raiders will be by the time they get there? That is a good point, Kevin. I
Well,
didn't think of that.
yeah,
we
so
wanna-
but after that, I mean, you looked at it. What it went.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's
Bengals,
oh,
Lions, and then Lions right after the Packers
Yeah,
again.
that's brutal.
If he can go in those last 4 games, if he can, I mean, because even 2-2, I feel like he should be beating the Packers. So
Oh, the Packers
that would
are
make
bad.
it.
Yeah, I
That would
think
make
he
it 1 and 2 out of those. So I mean, it kind of makes it a bit harder. I don't know if he somehow went 3-1 in those last 4 games. I'd be floored, and you'd
Jefferson
have to
will be
start
back.
considering stuff.
Jefferson
Mm.
will be back at some point. Probably not the Saints game, but maybe the Broncos game, maybe the Bears
Yep.
game.
Hmm.
Why I traded him? I just don't know, but I did. So
Yeah, maybe we should review that quickly.
yeah.
Cool. Well, another thing I wanted to talk about. Do you guys want to talk about the Raiders, or do you want to just kind of say
Sure.
like, oh, they won a game and move on?
We
Does
can
anybody have
win a
anything
game and move
substantial?
on? But the thing that I saw an article about, and I really like it, is the new head coach. I don't even know his name, but he brought the
Pierce?
practice players onto the sideline for the game.
That was cool. I saw that
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
Because he in his interview, he was pretty much saying, "Oh, they're on the team. They practice with us all week, but then game time comes around and we boot them off to their home. Like, I don't like that." And
That's a good
I
point. I like
I
that.
like what he was saying there, and bringing them in, it makes them want to compete for that starting job, and I think it makes the whole team better. So I liked it. I'd like to see that more often across the NFL.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Yeah. Looking at their schedule, I mean, the Jets is, I think, a potentially winnable game, but then, oof, you've got the Dolphins and Chiefs after them. That's
Yeah,
a little brutal for
especially
Aiden
yeah,
O'Connell and
if they're gonna
a
keep
new
running
head
with him.
coach.
Yeah,
Real quick, can you pull up how good did Devontae Adams do good in that last
He
game?
did
'Cause, I
not.
mean, that was like
He did
okay.
not.
he was quiet. He was quiet.
Mm.
He still
But
leads the team in receiving yards.
Yeah, so 7 targets, 4 receptions for 34 yards. I mean,
Okay.
it's too bad what they've done with him, and they haven't traded him. He seems like his spirits are higher after what's transpired in a decisive win over the Giants, but he is not used to having games like this where he's been ultra quiet. I assume it will take some time, but I'm sure him and O'Connell are going to find a connection of some so like how can you not with someone like him?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
like
think-
go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, I think a lot of his issues were seated in Josh McDaniels. I think McDaniels had definitely lost control of that locker room and the trust in the team. So he definitely does seem to be a little bit happier, but
Yeah. So I do like the Raiders, and like they have a lot of talent on that team that's just kind of being spoiled right now, or not used to their capabilities. It's kind of a shock. I think we knew that Jimmy G. We were kind of not totally sure about how he was going to do with that team, but I think not as badly as things went. I don't think any of us expected that as they were coming into
not
the
at all.
season. So, and yeah, I mean, Adams wanted to play with Derek Carr. That was very obvious. So it's kind of a head scratcher to begin with that they even sent him over to the Saints because, I mean, it's not like Derek Carr was ever a world beater, but he was always a serviceable quarterback. And when you have someone like Devontae Adams, like they make
never
that work.
And never forget when Derek Carr led them to like a 12-4 number 1 seed record, and then he got his leg blown off in like the last game of the year.
Yep.
yeah, he was in MVP,
Yeah.
MVP talks that year.
Yep. All
But,
right.
yeah, I don't know.
Mike
why they did
Mike
that.
Glennon came in and sucked it up, and they got blown out. But I've always
So-
been a big Derek Carr guy, but he's nothing special.
Speaking of New York Giant quarterbacks like Mike Glennon and legs getting blown off, I want to quickly talk about our friend Daniel Jones, who is out for the season with a torn ACL as of last week. What an unfortunate turn of events for our friend here, and I wanted to revisit something about that situation over in New York. Is that they just paid him $160 million. Why, first of all, and secondly, like what is the future of this team? Because I don't think Daniel Jones is it, but they seem to think that it is. Does anybody have any thoughts on the Giants
All right.
quickly?
First off, Noah, I need directly to you here. Those are some strong words.
I'm looking right
Calling
at
him
you,
my
buddy.
my friend. All right, Daniel. All right, I hope he gets better. But Daniel Jones is a bum. Giants are bums. Like, who cares that he blew his ACL out? Hope he gets better. But but the man's is bad. That's all I mean, I know he had good stats last year, but I think he sucks. There's a reason why I dropped him in fantasy,
Jake, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, you're talking about what's the future in New York. I mean,
Bleak.
I don't think there is a future
It's
in New
that
York
right there.
so long
It's,
as you
it's,
own that
it's
man.
front and center. That's what the
That's
Get the
future is.
toilet.
No, it's interesting. Like, he got them to the playoffs last year, and they paid him because they were like, wow.
They were pretty competitive last year. I mean, like not like world beaters, but they were competitive.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, competitive, but how do you look at a guy who maxed out at 3,200 yards with a 62 QBR and be like, "Oh, let's give him 40 million a year."
It it makes no sense. I mean, maybe they thought they had the next Eli, which not that Eli was ever like a top of the line quarterback, but he could win games. Maybe I don't know.
I mean,
It's wild to me.
Eli, whether we like it or not, and I hate to say this as a Patriots fan, Eli's a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's a shame but like I thought Daniel Jones was going to come back and have a good year after last year. Oftentimes when people get paid, they don't. So I guess that could be that. But he also was hurt. Obviously not his fault. But if anyone needs a quarterback, it's these guys. I think. Look at that article right in the right. Should the Giants move on? Yes, they should. They could draft anybody. It could be Penix. It could be Caleb Williams because they could have the first pick. They need a quarterback bad. They also need receivers. Besides Sterling Shepard, because we're big Sterling Shepard guys around here, name a Giants receiver. I know Jalen Hyatt, and that's it. Yeah. And he sucks. Waller does not count. I want wide receivers.
Well, let's see. Any guesses on who their top wide receiver is on this team?
I couldn't tell you.
It's not Jalen Hyatt. I know that.
My only guess is Wan'Dale Robinson.
That has to be it. I'll be.
Darius Slayton.
Wan'Dale's he exists.
Darius Slayton with 316.
Yeah, they even throwing the ball. Mark Andrews has more receptions than like 3 of these guys combined.
Yeah. I mean,
that's terrible. Tommy DeVito, baby.
Tommy DeVito.
Get some gabagool, baby. He's a New Jersey kid.
Oh boy.
I mean, how was this team good last year? Just
who knows?
Yeah.
I just
makes no sense.
Just live on the air here. I just want to let you guys know Tom is haggling with me about getting David Montgomery off my team. So just more updates to come.
Okay. Don't give in.
No, he wants Puka for David Montgomery straight up, and I don't know.
I wouldn't take Puka at this point. It's hard to tell.
Puka's last 2 games were 7 points and 9 points. And when David Montgomery came back from injury last, he carried the ball like 33 times. So I'll take my chances and wait.
Yeah. So in the interest of time, one of the things we were going to talk about was comparing quarterbacks of today to yesteryear. I think we'll probably want to just scoot past that unless anybody wants to throw. I see it kind of stewing.
Real quick. Because I was like, well, that's an interesting conversation topic. To be fair, a lot of injuries this year. A lot. Like, I don't think if Kyler Murray wasn't hurt, I don't think Clayton Tune or Tooney, whatever the hell his name is, would even be touching a football. Daniel Jones, he sucks when he plays, but I mean, like Tyrod, there's a lot of injuries, so like it's hard to compare because all I did was Google, starting quarterbacks, ranked from 2013.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. I mean, Matt Ryan, this is a Hall of Fame class.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco was a dog back in the day. Ben Tony Romo, like, we can't compare this year to that year. I mean, this is
Well, let's just go off of passing leaders over here and just see.
Sam Howell's number 2. Sam Howell. That's all we need to say.
Yeah.
Sam Howell's number 2 on this list. Number 2 is Drew Brees.
Yeah, I just pulled up 2013 passing yard leaders. There were 9 quarterbacks with over 4,000 passing yards in 2013.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Russell Wilson was 12th. RG3 is even on the list. Andy Dalton threw for friggin' 230 yards a game. Colin Kaepernick's even on here. That's crazy. Jay Cutler was the 17th worst quarterback, and he was pretty good back then. Yeah, it's just Sam Bradford. Wow, we're deep in the shits right now.
Sam Bradford. Wow.
When Phillip Rivers is the 20th best quarterback that year, that's all. Who's the 20th best quarterback right now? Scroll down a little. Oh, come on. There he is.
Yep. Joshua Dobbs.
There he is. That was poetic. That was so funny.
The big reveal. Yeah.
Mike Vick still played? Oh my god, this list is nuts, first off.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking to the injury part that you were mentioning for this season, I was trying to get some stats and I can't find anything right now on like number of starting quarterbacks in total across the league per year.
Oh yeah, that's hard to find.
I can't find it, but there is an article right here. It's called Year of the Quarterback Carousel, a look back at the NFL's record number of starting quarterbacks in 2022. So, I mean, in 2022, 69 different quarterbacks started a game.
Nice.
That's insane.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of injury and just a bunch of teams kind of not really knowing where their direction is. They got a lot of teams right now have a young guy that they drafted like 2 years ago, and he's just been like ass for the past 2 years. So now they're deciding, all right, do we keep going with him or do we get a new guy? And they don't know. So I think everyone's just kind of trying to figure it out right now.
And here we see 50 different people have thrown a pass this season. At least, I think these are all supposed to be quarterbacks. So it's not counting, trick plays or whatever. But already 50
how many
people.
Of them? Yeah, how many of them started? Not too sure, but
I mean,
real quick, because Brett wanted to talk about this, and Brett isn't here. How rookie quarterback should really sit on the bench their first year, and I agree. I think rookie quarterback, even Patrick Mahomes, sat his first year under Alex Smith. Just look at Andy Dalton played one game and almost threw for 400 yards, but they let Bryce Young keep coming in to throw 210. I think that's like a perfect example of what Brett is talking about. I think rookie quarterback should sit. Bryce Young, if he sat behind Andy Dalton and they just let Andy Dalton throw for 300 yards, I'm not saying he's going to do 360 every game, but I think especially someone like Andy Dalton, who's been in the league since we were children, I think he's a perfect guy to sit behind. And Bryce Young, 8-7 QBR of 33. That's almost the worst QBR out of any starting quarterback. So yeah, I think because Brett's not here to say it, I think rookie quarterback should sit, and I'm shocked that he's not. I know he was the number one pick, but I definitely think he could have benefited from some time behind Andy Dalton. And I bet they'd have a way better record if Andy Dalton was playing, but maybe that's the point. Maybe they don't want that.
Yeah. To be fair, I do agree with that approach. I like the idea of having a vet show them the ropes, teach them. But to play devil's advocate here, there are some like really bona fide QBs that have started as rookies. I'm trying to run down a list here of like the best seasons for rookie quarterbacks. Just someone who came in and was immediately hot, So we have people like Russell Wilson coming through. We have Matt Ryan,
Andrew Luck.
Andrew
Dan
Luck,
Marino.
Yeah,
Dan
I mean,
Marino. I'm trying to trim off the fat of people who, like Cam Newton was good, but he's also died off kind of quick. Joe Flacco was really solid. We shouted him
RG3
out
rip.
earlier before. RG3, he died. He died so fast though, but I really wish he didn't. What was one that I'm trying
I
to
know
remember?
Dak was one that people
yeah,
called
he had a
on.
great.
Ben Roethlisberger. He started as a rookie.
Yep.
Pretty sure Peyton Manning came in as a rookie. He kind of sucked for a little bit, but that's a Hall
Yeah.
of Famer right there. So I think it's really dependent on the situation, the team, all that. I think the Panthers are not in the situation to be able to start a rookie quarterback. Someone like the Texans, on the other hand, seem like they're in a better spot, and they were able to take that risk, and it's kind of paying off right now.
Mhm.
CJ Stroud though was also a Heisman candidate. Bryce Young is an Alabama quarterback. So I just think that you're right. I think it goes from quarterback to quarterback, person to person. I mean, if some guy comes in from college and he's throwing for 6,000 yards, then maybe you're right. But yeah, good for CJ Stroud, man. He's balling the hell out.
I didn't realize one interception as a rookie into week
That's
10
insane.
is in fucking insane. Good for
That
him.
is insane. I didn't even know. I didn't realize that.
And Kevin had him on his bench last week. Imagine that.
I had him on my bench. Coming out of the bye.
And
Just
Shirley, kind of to jump onto what we talked about last week, that game probably almost guarantees him the offensive rookie of the year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. QB award. It's going.
It's a QB award. It's
for
sad,
sure.
but I mean,
mhm.
those are good stats.
I mean, just looking 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. I'm pretty sure that's the same ratio Brady had in the year where he came back after the Deflategate suspension. And he threw like 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane from a rookie QB to have like that poise and ability to be able to take care of the ball that well. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
got
and-
double Justin Fields QBR.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, people. Any final thoughts before we transition to our? I guess we'll do pick'ems next.
Yes, sir.
And track how we did last week. So, any final thoughts before? I'll let Spect handle that part. And Jay, just so you know, I'm not sure if you saw last week, but what we did was, and this was an old podcast tradition, we run down a couple, or at least in last week's case, all of the football games coming up in the week, and we just knee-jerk reaction throughout our picks and who we think is going to win.
Perfect.
We tallied up. So, Spect, I'll leave it up to you if you want to do all the games or
Yeah,
just choice ones.
I like all the games. Noah was a man on fire last week, 12-1. Kevin, a sneaky 10-3. Brett, which is where kind of I thought we would all be, was 8-5, and then I was 7-6. But anyways, let's go to this week's games. Easy one in my opinion. Colts and Patriots. Give me the Colts.
Yep.
Yeah,
No
Colts.
debate.
I can't be a homer, but I'll go Colts.
It's Colts.
I'm gonna go a little out of order from what we have on the screen because I'm on the score. Give me
Sure.
Packers. Give me Packers. Steelers. Steelers.
Yeah. Steelers home too. With that
Steelers at
defense.
not
Yeah.
Heinz Field, whatever the hell it's called nowadays.
Steelers.
Yeah, at home Steelers.
Vikings Saints. Let's Joshua Dobbs reckoning game. Give me the Saints.
No. You need
I'm
the
gonna go
Vikings.
Saints.
Yeah,
No, Vikings ride Dobbs.
I'll go Vikings. I'm with you, Kev.
They're at home, too.
Dobbs country. Let's ride. Bengals Texans. Really good game. Let's go with the Bengals. They're hot as hell.
Yep.
Yeah, Bengals.
At home as well. Bengals. Game of the week. Maybe. Ravens Browns. Give me the Ravens. I think they just have a better offense, and it'll show.
Ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ravens, but it's going to be crazy because it's literally like the number 1 defense versus the number 2 defense. It's
I could see like a 17-6 final score here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
6-3
It's gonna be a
Ravens.
dogfight, but the Ravens are gonna win.
Not the game of the. What did you say? Would you say something, Noah? Did you say who?
I said Ravens. Yep.
Okay, just making sure. Not game of the week. Titans, Bucks. Bucks.
I'll take
Yeah.
Bucks.
Let me go. Yeah, Bucks.
I feel like I think the Titans could pull that one out.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Titans here.
Here we go. Another amazing game. 49ers, Jags. Give me the Jags. Jags. Let's go.
Jags. Yeah, I'll take the Jags.
Ooh, that's
I
tough.
gotta- 49ers.
I think a slight edge to the Jags right now with Debo's health.
Yeah,
Still a little bit in question. Brock Purdy, he was better last week, but still inconsistent. I think the Jags have this one.
yeah. Next week though, I don't care who they're playing. Give me the Niners. This week, Jags. I think next week they click it all together again.
Lions, Chargers. Lions.
Yeah, easy lines.
Lions.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It is Jared Goff on the road.
Uh,
That's the only thing I'll say there.
I am going to take the Chargers.
Questionable.
See you next
Falcon-
week. We'll see.
Falcons, Cardinals. Easy.
Oh.
Falcons.
Yeah,
Falcons.
Falcons all day.
Yeah. Falcons.
I thought so. Commanders, Seahawks.
Gonna be a fun one.
Yeah.
Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
They need this win.
They really do. I had Geno Smith as the start. The Commanders' pass defense is terrible. If there's ever a time for him to show up, and like ever a time for the Seahawks to really cement themselves up there in the NFC West, I think it's this week. Seahawks all the way.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
By far the biggest line of the week at a -17, which is nuts.
Holy shit.
Cowboys. Okay, Cowboys. I don't even think we need to really go around the horn here.
Well,
I mean, Tommy DeVito. I mean, 22
Cowboys,
bucks,
yeah.
fellas. Get on the plane. 22 bucks. $164 to go see the Jets play the Raiders. What is happening?
That's disgusting.
To go see O'Connell and Zach Wynn. Okay, so Cowboys by 1,000.
Yeah.
I said Commander Seahawks. Jets Raiders.
yeah, Raiders.
Noah wrote about it. Their defense is going to go off.
Raiders easy, I think.
Zach Wilson's going to be on his ass many times.
Max
Yeah.
Crosby's going to eat Zach's ass. I mean,
Pause.
I'm gonna go against the grain here and say the Jets. I think
Oh.
Brees Hall has an insane game and barely ekes out the win.
where are they? They're away. They're in Vegas. Not that it matters particularly. Last game could be a sneaky one. Bills, Broncos. Let's go.
Sneaky.
My heart and my gut say Broncos.
Oh, you cannot call Chargers over the Lions is questionable. You got to pick the well, no, the Broncos beat the Chiefs. You know what? I'm sorry, Spect. I'll retract.
But
I said the Lions immediately. You must be.
But-
I said Lions right
No,
away.
you were giving me shit for the Chargers, is what I mean. You're like, oh, questionable.
I have a point about the Chargers after this, but go on.
Sure.
they beat the Chiefs at home. This is the way. The Bills might be 5-4, but they're 4-1 at home. I'm
Yeah, I mean, the Bills.
taking the Bills on that one. I
Yeah,
don't see how the
Bills.
Broncos come even close.
About the Chargers, they have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams when healthy, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler. That's most teams, franchises, fans would die for that combo. Has any team just consistently underperformed every year and gotten away with it like the Chargers have? I feel like every year the Chargers are
Let's-
playing week 17 to get into the playoffs. they don't make it, or they're the last team in, and they just skeet by every year being mediocre.
Well,
And
let's
They've
look at
been
that though.
doing
These
it
are one
since-
possession losses, except for the Chiefs. You know,
they
these
are
like
still losses.
That's
Yeah,
their
they lost-
specialty, though. One
That is
score
their
losses. I feel like they had a lot of those last year too.
No,
I just think
I gotta
Kevin, good.
well, I gotta rewind. So you named off Eckler and
Eckler,
Um,
Herbert, friggin' Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams, all healthy. Most teams would die for that combination.
all right. So we're not even mentioning that they have Bosa and Mack on defense too, right?
There you go. That's
Like-
just hardening my
Like-
point.
Like and yeah, they still every year they don't suck, but
They don't. They're not
doing as good as
great.
they should be.
You know, I mean, yeah. I just think that they how do they get away with not making the play or almost not? Can we get like their year to year popped up? Is that something-
Yeah, I might have to go to Football Reference. Give me 1 second.
I'm just curious to see like kind of like we did with the Bengals. Like I would like to see like the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel like they've been doing this since the Philip Rivers.
Oh.
Yeah,
Phillip
look at
Rivers
that.
days.
That's terrible. Oh, Philip Rivers especially. At least Philip Rivers made the playoffs once or twice, really.
Yeah, he made the AFC Championship game that one year.
Yeah. So since Herbert, they've made the playoffs once. 7-9, 9-8, 10-7. If any other team was doing that, you know, I mean, I just feel like that's bad. That's not
Yeah.
good. And they should be doing. The reason I bring it up is because they should be doing way better. Like I said, those four, I would cut my left arm off to have them in Patriots uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I just thought that's why I questioned it. Is like the Chargers are kind of ass. Like, and,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It must be tough playing the Chiefs twice a year. I get that, but like, again, I had to say it. I just don't think they're that good ever. They never really have been. So yeah. That's why I gave you a little crap.
Yeah, fair enough. I think they have momentum, and I don't know. Why not? I have to try to stay ahead of the pack. I can't pick all the same games as you guys. If there's a game where I think it could swing maybe the other way, this was one of the safer ones for me. So
This is low key. Brett kind of alluded to this in the group chat not too long ago. Kind of a snooze fest of a week.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
really. Last week was banger after banger after banger. This one is questionable.
We have 3 good games and 1 maybe sneaky good game.
Last week we had like 5
Or
good games.
2 maybe. So
Houston, Cincinnati for sure.
banger.
San Fran, Jacksonville. I think that'll
Banger.
be really good. Baltimore, Cleveland, banger, but in a
Banger.
different way. I don't think it's going to be like the usual.
No.
Detroit, Los Angeles. I think that'll be a good game. Washington, Seattle, sneaky.
yep.
Sneaky.
sure.
Yeah.
The rest of them suck, like really bad. And I
I
was
think
kind of being,
Saints
I was
Vikings
kind of
could
being
be
generous.
not too bad.
I mean, if Josh Dobbs plays like Joe Montana, like you guys
Yeah.
are saying,
It,
I mean,
it
maybe.
really depends on the quarterbacks for both those teams if we can get a good game.
Let's take a
Hopefully
look
next.
at-
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we look
Don't
at next week?
forget Sunday Night Football next week, people. Or Thursday Night
Banger!
Football,
Look
rather.
at that. That's a
Thursday night.
banger.
That will be can't
That's it.
miss.
I want that to be my AFC championship.
That'd be nuts.
That would be amazing.
This is a weaker slate next week for sure.
Oh, we got
Yeah,
the
wow.
Eagles and Chiefs on Monday night.
I mean, this is
So
a
it-
horrible
That'll be
slate.
good.
You don't even get to watch the Patriots lose.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, we're bookended by some absolute like potential
Okay.
potential,
Yikes, yeah.
you know, like these are huge. And
Week 10 looks like the playoffs compared to this. What the hell is
however,
this?
you know, Pittsburgh Cleveland could be like this is a pivotal game for both of these teams. Actually, this is gonna be a boring game, but
Any AFC North game is a great game. Like straight up, they hate each other.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, how do you guys feel? I didn't know this. How do you guys feel about? Apparently, it's going to be a tradition. It's not. This is also the first time they're doing it, but it's also supposed to be a yearly thing. A Black Friday game is gonna
What?
happen. You didn't know that?
Yeah,
I didn't know that until they talked about it because it's going to be on Prime. I didn't know that. See, I didn't. That's going to be a yearly thing apparently. I like it. I mean, an extra day. Now we get football Thursday, Friday, Sunday. I mean, that's kind of nice. College on Saturday. I just think it's odd.
It's nice, odd, special. It's only nice because it's special. The only thing that's not special about it is they're following the MLB playoff format and having the game in the middle of the day for absolutely no
That
reason.
that should be a 7 o'clock. That should be like
Yeah.
a 7:15
It should.
game.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that to be well, that's of course Mountain Time, but a 3 p.m. That's such an odd time too. 3 p.m.
Oh, it is.
Eastern
It is
time?
Noah's time. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Like not even a standard starting time.
toss it at 4. Even 4 is better.
Yeah,
An hour later.
4:25. Let's just do it. Yeah. Call the league. What are we doing?
425
Yeah.
is this is like my take on game slots. 425 is the best slot because it
I
runs
guess you're
till
right.
like 8. You can go to bed nice and early. You're not up until fucking like midnight watching the fucking Bears and Panthers shit it out on prime time. You know, like
A 1 o'clock game. You have to wake up at like 8:30 to like go to the stadium. Like,
yeah, 425, perfect.
Looking at our Thanksgiving matchups too, we could potentially be in for a treat with that night game.
It's gonna be sweet.
49ers Seahawks.
That's
the Lions are going to eviscerate
Yeah.
the Packers. Ford Field,
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
Ford. Oh,
Lock it in now. You lock your bets in now. Jared Goff is gonna look like Tom fucking Brady throwing. He's gonna throw for like 450 yards.
never
I
mind
think-
that. Let's just look at these prices again. I love that nobody loves the Cowboys because you've got your Thanksgiving primetime game, or not, well, prime. It's 2:30, whatever, but it's $39 to get into the stadium. What are we doing down
That's
in Texas?
crazy.
You have to cut off your foot to get into the Detroit game at 10 in the morning.
Oh man. All right, boys. Well, we had a couple miscellaneous things on the slate that were not related to the NFL. We are closing in on that hour and a half mark here. So my question for our panel here is, do you want to run over a little bit and quickly hit the points that we had written down in the miscellaneous category? What are we feeling this evening? I'll leave it up to you guys.
I think the only thing I would want to touch on, because I just think it'll be a nice debate, is LeBron saying that he would be as dominant if he didn't go to Miami. Because I think that's a take. That's a take, all right. Everything else, I think we could wait.
All right. Well,
yeah.
how about we close it out with that? And why don't you lead the charge on that, since you've kind of been the one bringing that up? While you do that, I'm going to bring up some LeBron's reference page over here.
I think that that's nuts. I think that to say that he's still tops in the league, because he is still the same person, and it's hard to like, we kind of went into the rabbit hole in the chat the other day about how like, it's hard to say like you change one thing and everything else stays the same. Obviously, if he doesn't go to Miami, the whole league is flipped on its ass and like everything's different. But he is still LeBron James. I think it's fair to say he would be a dominant player, but to say that he would still have the same standing in the overall hierarchy of all time, I think that is outrageous. He doesn't go to Miami, he doesn't get those rings. He doesn't bring them to the finals, however many years in a row. So I think he falls off the GOAT debate pretty hard. I think he's still top 10, but he's probably hanging out around I don't know. It's hard to put him over Bill with all those rings, or Larry, or Magic, or Kareem. He might be hanging out because, I mean, how many rings would he have? 2?
See, that's
I
the
mean-
that's the thing where you're talking about the butterfly effect, where they didn't give him anything in Cleveland.
Yep.
So if he doesn't leave Cleveland, he obviously doesn't get the 2 Miami rings.
No
If we're
Kyrie,
just-
no anything.
Yeah, if we're just assuming things kind of stayed the same, they don't get Kyrie, they don't get the Cleveland ring. Do they even bring anyone in? Do they learn, or are they just complacent and go, oh, our star stayed. He wants to stay in Cleveland because he's from here. We'll just keep doing business as usual and give him bums to play with. And then he doesn't win any rings at all. Maybe he still goes to the Lakers as a nice little retirement present to himself and he wins his bubble ring. But I think he's dominant, like he's saying, just pure day to day. How is he playing? He's dominant. Like you were saying, he's fallen. He's bottom of the list now.
He's
for GOAT.
He's 10, 11-ish, 9 around there. I think personally. It, it's hard to say about the scoring record. It's hard to take that away from him just because he didn't change teams. The Celtics would probably have a couple extra rings.
Yep.
For sure. Do the Heat still win without him? Brett said yes in the chat the other day, I think, which is just, I think that's nuts. It is still a very good team.
I think the Thunder get a ring if that doesn't happen. You know, they beat the Thunder in one of those finals, and
the Spurs get an extra ring.
Well, the Thunder year, wasn't that the year the Celtics took the Heat to? Well, it was more like the Heat took us to 7 because I think we threw.
That was that. That's what isn't that the year that's where that meme came from? The one of LeBron, like
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I remember watching those finals against the Thunder and just thinking, man, the Celtics could have fucking creamed these guys.
Yeah, the Thunder,
2012,
the Thunder had no right to be there. I mean, they
had a right to be there.
They won one game in the finals. I mean,
but you know, and this was also lockout shortened. We'll point that out, but still, I think the Thunder get a like when you look at their roster, you know, I don't know.
And that was before James Harden was like really like who he, before he was a loser. I mean,
I'll give the shout out for Tom right now. That's why the Thunder made the finals. See right there, number 6. There, that's the boy we're looking for.
Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins.
I know Tom would want to shout him out.
Yeah, so like let's play, because again, it's hard to say that like nothing would change. But if we assume that everything stays the exact same, then the Spurs get a ring. The Thunder probably get that ring. Obviously, the Mavs win that ring. I mean, maybe, who knows? I don't know who else. Who would they have played that year if the Heat didn't win? I don't even know who the Mavs would have played. The Spurs get that second, both those rings, and then the Celtics probably sneak in there one of those times. Yeah, so I don't know. I just think that's such a wild thing to say, to act like his career would still be kind of where it is, because you could take away at least 3 rings, 3 rings.
Well, I mean, it's interesting to consider, like, you know, like we are working with the idea that everything stays the same, and he wins the scoring title. How weird would it be that, like, there's a potential here that, you know, are we factoring in that he gets a Cleveland ring in whatever year it was, like 17 or whatever, 16?
Well, that's the thing.
Well, no, because like Kevin said, Kyrie's not around,
so,
because they probably don't suck.
Where does scoring champ or like all-time scoring leader plus 1 ring in the bubble equate to? Yeah, I mean, I think it's foolish to say on LeBron's behalf that he would be ranked where he is. Like
think of it this way: Kareem was the scoring leader and has how many rings? And
6.
he's what on everyone's list? 6, 7. Yeah. Most people would probably put. Well, you can take LeBron out, I guess. Michael, Magic, Larry, Bill. Maybe not Larry. I like Larry, obviously, biased. So I mean, I don't think it means much, 1 ring. I mean, so I think, and Shannon Sharp kind of said this on First Take. Most of LeBron's mysticism is the rings and how often he made it to the finals, but I just don't think he does that if he stays with that. I mean, there's that classic meme, that bum ass Cleveland roster that he used to play with, and then honestly the second time around too, the bum ass Cleveland roster, he freaking ran the Celtics out of the building.
61 and 21 with this roster, and the second highest leading scorer was Mo Williams.
Jameson.
Wow,
tied for the season.
Hey, Jack, baby.
I gotta say something it'll make all of you a little happy on the inside. I'm looking at the playoff brackets for those Heat years and factoring out, you know, if LeBron's not there, the Heat probably don't do as well. The number 1 seed in 2011 was the Chicago Bulls with Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rozier.
They made it to the conference finals. They did get kind of thrashed 4-1 by Miami, but Miami's not there.
That's another very interesting.
Derrick Rose gets a ring. That would be kind of nice, but I'm assuming Mavs probably still win that one. So then I did some more digging, and if we bump it 2 years into the future, 2013, they got tossed by Miami in the second round. So it could have been Chicago, Indiana in the conference finals. maybe we
I
see
do
them.
think we are. I do think even me, we are underselling that Heat team a little bit.
A little
I
bit, yeah.
I think Dwayne, I mean, I'm basically acting like no LeBron. They don't even make the playoffs. But I mean, Dwayne Wade is still a Hall of Famer. Chris Bosh could have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't have whatever blood thing he had going on, clots. Ray Allen, Hall of Famer. Haslam, when he actually played, I mean, he was out there. I'm pretty sure he was out there for that big Ray Allen 3. Birdman, when Birdman had that year. I mean, so they're still a good team, but I mean, LeBron definitely was, because to me, when I think of LeBron, I think of him in a Heat uniform.
Yeah, here's the first team LeBron won a title with.
Mario Chalmers, forgot about him too. Everyone after that is kind of questionable.
Norris Cole.
Yeah, Norris Cole's good. Mike Miller, Udonis Haslam. What a man. He's still hanging around with the. I know he retired, but he still is at practice.
He has a role on the team as like player something. I don't know what he's some form of like upper administration now, but
his poor stats must just suffer from those last few years on the Heat.
I mean,
he must have heinous overalls.
Yeah, let's look at the minutes per game for like all those final years.
7,
where's
8,
the drop
5,
off?
7, 11, 3, and this is like he's playing almost 0 games.
Yeah, look at that. Right in what year is that? 20. Literally, like right as soon as LeBron leaves, he's just like, "I'll take the bench."
Yeah,
good for him, man. Sticking around. Good for him.
Yeah, so I think we all kind of have a consensus here. LeBron likes to just say things. We know that.
Did you also see the thing, like when they played the Clippers went like a nutty like 11 for 11 from like the field or something like that, or like they like were shooting the lights out, and LeBron said that like, oh yeah, I predicted that. I saw them shooting around. They didn't make a damn shot, so I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna be shooting the lights out tonight. And like, so when reporters asked him like, how did you feel about the Clippers, how hot they were, he's like, oh yeah, I saw it coming. I saw it coming. No, you didn't. You didn't see shit, bro.
Oh man, yeah, whatever. LeBron's earned the right. He's in season like 21 and he's still playing. Like, season stats: 56% from the field, 24 points a game, 8 rebounds, 5. Like, come on, like it's just ridiculous. Anyways, and he's still on 35 minutes a fucking game. It's cool to see, regardless of whatever wacky shit he's saying. Like, it's cool. We're witnessing history, and it's going to be a sad day when he leaves, but hopefully he gets to get on the court with Bronny once, because that's obviously, I think, what he's gunning for here.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of just looking at these stats. It brought me to the idea of like the GOAT debate again, where basketball is starting to really almost mirror what soccer is seeing with their GOAT debate. Where, you have Messi versus Ronaldo, and then over here we have Jordan versus LeBron. And I think now I can take the acceptance of I can have the same take for both of these sports, where I'm going to put it in NBA terms. You have the GOAT of like hard work, and then the GOAT of just God-given skill. Where like you watch Jordan play and what he didn't play as long or as much, but it's just like he did unreal things. And then you look
like
at LeBron. Yeah, and LeBron is just a machine. He never stops. He plays every game. He scores 30 points. It's crazy what he can do. And he does it for so long. And I mean, that's how I'm starting to see it.
I would hate to keep everything going, but I do one more question, one more thing I want to propose to the boys. I'm sorry, I'm having a blast.
Let's do it.
So I saw this interesting TikTok about like, it was kind of similar to what we talked about earlier, quarterbacks now versus quarterbacks then. So like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Patrick Mahomes is going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. But when LeBron retires, like, I feel like once Tom Brady retired, he was kind of that last guy, right? Like prime Aaron Rodgers, prime Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger. Tom was like the last one, and then he retired, and like I just feel like everything felt different. When LeBron retires, do you think it's going to feel the same way? Because I think the league, especially the NFL, is missing those kind of quarterbacks. Like we just read that 2013 list. That's 15 of those guys are Hall of Famers.
I think the NBA is in probably the best position out of all the leagues for like
Because
the
they
next
they
generation.
because they still have someone like Giannis, like after LeBron James, who's the 5 best players in the league? Like obviously LeBron might not even be in that 5, but like legacy wise, like LeBron won, and then like a healthy KD, maybe a healthy Kawhi, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic. Those are definitely better than the top 5 quarterbacks we have
Yeah,
right now.
I literally run down
Yeah.
Giannis and beat Jokic. Like, I mean, they've been the top 3 MVP candidates for the past 3
Steph
seasons.
Curry's still kicking around. Steph Curry's been in the league forever.
He's been ridiculous this season too, and he's 35 now. Like, just real quick, he's shooting 47 from 3 this season. It's fucking
insane.
Is
absurd.
that a career high?
Yeah,
Has to
currently
be.
it is. I'm sure it'll
Jesus
dip
Christ.
down to that 42 range or so, but like
Yeah,
30
He's-
points a
he's-
game at age 35,
he's
it's
clearing his career best by 2 points for like the shooting percentage. That's insane.
Yep.
I agree though, Kev. I think the NBA has enough stars that they'll live, but I definitely think the NFL, kind of to Brett's point, is hurting because they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if we list off the top 5 QBs, like we said in 2013, that all 5 of them are probably better than the top 5 QBs right now.
well, the thing I want to also bring up too then is like the face of the league type thing, where like who's getting the movies and all the commercials and stuff, and you know LeBron has done Space Jam and he's been sponsored by this, that, and the other thing, and Tom Brady was in a million commercials, and like the face of the league is very obvious. I don't know who that next person is, and
He's
it's
right
kind
there.
of funny
He's on your
because
Find him. Find him. He's on your screen right now.
No, who are you gonna say?
You know, it's funny. Well, no, I don't know who you're thinking, but it's like, you know, if we're talking, in my opinion, the best player in the league is Nikola Jokic, and he fucking hates the sport of basketball.
He does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he can't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Hilarious.
And Nikola Jokic, if he was like Nikola Jokic would be a worse face of the league than Mike Trout is. Like Mike Trout should be the face of baseball, and he's just not that guy. Jokic would be like the worst face of the league, and
Oh,
it
God.
sucks because he's like a legend already.
No, it's like one of my favorite things. Like you see TikToks of him, like the Nuggets will post a video of him at a press conference, and someone was like, "Jokic applied for the NBA on Indeed," and he's just here to make some money, and he wants to go ride horses in the
Can
summer.
we just,
Didn't
can we
pick
just
up
get
a
a
pass.
side by side of Jokic and Mike Trout for like their player pictures here?
No, Mike Trout's probably at least smiling.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just I don't know what his player picture is, but his third result on Google Images, it is scarily the
Hold on.
same.
I'll find him. Oh, he looks. I can tell from
Oh,
here.
he's
he doesn't
not.
look
He's
happy.
not smiling. Well, I wouldn't be happy if I was stuck. Well, no, you know what's funny? He's not even stuck. I almost said he was stuck, but it seems like
That is
he
the
likes
same guy.
losing.
You put a
He
hat on. Look, the
can-
face doesn't even move.
It doesn't. It actually does not. Oh my god, that's crazy. And
That's the same guy. One of them just has more facial hair and a hat.
yeah, and this might be going down a whole rabbit hole, but like to the point of like Mike Trout being stuck, like he could leave this offseason if he
Yeah,
wants to. And
I was
again, this
just
could be
thinking
going
that.
down a whole nother
He
rabbit
should.
hole, but
Before that
Yeah.
rabbit hole, real quick, I just want to make sure I get this from Kevin. Who was the face you're talking about? Were you talking about Jokic or somebody else?
It's not even that he's the best player. It's they're feeding him, they're shoving him down your throat on Instagram everywhere you see him. It's Victor Wembanyama right there. They're gonna make him the face of the league, whether you
Oh.
like it or not. It's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to talk about how he's doing. We won't, but Wembanyama's been as good as advertised, and we'll just leave it at that. Jay, continue for what you were saying.
oh, I was just saying, I think the Angels have pretty much told Trout if he wants to explore trade options, he's open to this offseason, and
Which
I think,
it makes me think like he likes losing, because like
Yeah.
any other self-respecting human who's as good at what they do, if I was the greatest fucking car mechanic on earth, right, and they weren't, and I wasn't successful where I was, or they weren't paying me enough, I would leave. Like anybody's that is as good as what they do as he is would leave. And what he's lucky is though is baseball, especially, you really don't need a ring to be called one of the greatest of all time. Like Ken Griffey doesn't have a ring, a lot of great players don't have. Ken Griffey Jr. obviously. a lot of great players don't have rings, but like I thought that like I was gonna write an article about it and then I just totally slipped. Like it's like, does he care? Like I wonder how much he really cares.
Yeah. I think if he does decide to leave, I think Philly is a great fit for him.
Oh, and like and if you're the Angels, why wouldn't you? You could with some of the like the trades that you see sometimes, like and some of the money and whatnot, you could get a whole minor league team for Mike Trout. And
Mhm.
he's 32, which in baseball isn't that crazy old. It is definitely getting up there. But if he played this whole season, he would probably be tops of the league, you know, top
Yeah.
10 and top 10 in MVP voting.
Yeah.
When he's healthy, he's one of the best players around. I mean, can you just go to his stats real quick?
Yeah, like I mean, name
in
another
terms of games
another
played.
team that has someone, you know, at that level of, you know, Ruth and friggin', you know, DiMaggio on the same team and they suck every year.
Yeah, he has not won a single playoff game. Just look at
Yeah,
Look
they
at his
got
reference page.
they got swept the one time they sniffed the playoffs. And
It's just
look at
crazy.
the awards: MVP number 2, MVP number 2, MVP, MVP 2, MVP 1, MVP 4, all stars in all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, like, in the only time he was MVP number 5. Look how many games he played: 53.
Mhm.
I
Well,
mean, like,
Well,
2020,
wouldn't
so
that's
they
the
played,
COVID
what, like 60?
season, but still.
Yeah.
True. Yeah,
So-
60 games that
so
year.
it makes me really wonder because that organization is terrible. They've at least started to try to win with some of the trades and signings they made last season, Giolito and Renfro and whatnot. But it makes me wonder, does he even want to win? Because like I said, I feel like any self-respecting human who's that good at anything would go to wherever they could do it best. And it just makes me wonder.
72 wins, 73 or 77, 73,
Yeah, I mean-
73. Like,
And I thought Joe Madden was going to turn them around. I was so confident.
Me too. But yeah, that's been the story of the Angels his whole career. They're just
Something in those South Californian waters, man. Angels and Chargers can't get it together.
That's a really firm comparison, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like to combine it with, again, I mean, if Shohei can just have a small career of what he does if he keeps doing that, I mean, that's probably going to be one of the best 1-2 duos ever.
Yeah. And I mean, think
And
about it too.
They
The
can't
first
even
chance-
sniff the playoffs.
Yeah, the first chance he has to leave, he's taking it. He's gone.
Can anyone even name a Seattle Mariners player? They made the playoffs last year. Not like most
I could
recent, but
name
the
a
year
few,
before.
but
Yeah, but Jay, we watch baseball.
yeah. Anybody
like,
who doesn't, like,
Yeah, like if you don't watch baseball, like and that's another thing. If you asked some random person, you know, like who's one of the best basketball players right now, they could name a couple. You know, hockey doesn't count, but football, basketball, they could name the face of the league. Maybe, I mean, Mike Trout should be the face of the league. I don't even know who is the face of the league. I don't even know who it could be in baseball, honestly.
honestly, Ohtani.
Ohtani, that's a save.
probably right now, yeah. Even
Acuna.
Acuna's my one. Bryce Harper.
Yeah. Yeah, I
The
mean,
thing
it's
with
gonna
Otani
be
too is that with the we don't see it, but with all the fans he has in Japan, he's probably 10 times more popular than anyone stateside.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be crazy with Otani being a free agent this offseason, just how much money he's gonna command.
Oh, if he comes back, I'll cry. Oh my god, if he goes
I
back to
hope
the
he does
Angels.
not.
Oh, I pray. The league should be praying, and like I don't know. There are times in baseball, like NBA, you can tell there's shit behind the scenes. You know, the NFL is pushing the joke about the NFL being scripted, but jokes are only funny when they contain a little truth to them. I feel like baseball is the one league where it's like I really think that the owners don't have a hand in anything. I mean, like big free agents will go to like no name teams all the time,
Mhm.
and it just makes no sense. So
Yeah.
it's just like I wouldn't be shocked if Shohei went back. I honestly wouldn't be that surprised just because I know baseball. Like it would be so sad.
He needs
I mean,
a big market team.
yeah, everybody has the Angels on a potential destination for Otani, and that definitely makes me sad because I don't want to see another 10
They
years
were,
of Otani and Trout not making the playoffs.
I think it was Passan maybe said that maybe it was Jeff Passan, I don't remember, but the Cubs were like super interested last time around. And so he thinks that this time around, they're like the number one guys and they're like ready to trade or sell or do whatever they have to do to make room for him. And that's another one. I feel like that'd be sad as hell too, wasting away in Chicago. But
Yeah,
to be fair, at least they almost made the playoffs. They were
they did.
They were one Suzuki catch away from making the playoffs.
That was brutal. That
That was terrible. I could have caught that. And I say that with
Ugh.
confidence because I at least have been playing baseball my whole life. But that was just despicable. Just despicable. But the Cubs make the playoffs. The Diamondbacks don't. Whole new playoffs, whole new World Series.
Yeah.
That's another whole crazy thing.
That's the other thing that I just thought of, you mentioned him, Suzuki. Like anywhere
yeah.
there's a Japanese player on any MLB team, that has a lot of pull for Otani because it matters when you have a friend that you can talk in your native language with. So
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen
I
I've
think
seen people
that's huge.
talking about that with
Yoshida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they're not like, best friends, but they play on the national team together, and that's enough for American journalists at least. So
I wonder if the fact, do you think, and I think he will, he's not pitching next year, at least next year, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think that? I don't think that drives his value down at all. I think he's still going to command $400 million or something crazy. Because you got to think, Mike made what, 310 or something like that, 330. Bryce brought in the same. Manny Machado
Yeah.
kind of started that whole thing. I mean,
what was Judge's contract?
And
well,
I
that's
know
the thing, though. It did drive down his value. You said 400. They were initially saying 600 and completely serious.
to be fair,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like remember when Le'Veon Bell said like I want to be paid like a running back and a receiver. Like, yeah, sure, but like Shohei is legitimately, when healthy, a top 3, top 5 pitcher competing for one, and he could also lead the league in home runs at any. Especially, I know Brett is fantasizing about him coming to Fenway. I just don't think it's going to happen. He would hit fucking 60 home runs at Fenway.
He would.
That little friggin' 300-foot pesky pole loop. He would. Did you hear some of the balls that he hit? There's like those. It was on ESPN like for that whole week he did it. It sounded like a gun going off when he hit that foul ball. Like at Fenway, he will rake. I just don't think he'll go there. I just don't think it's possible. I don't think the Red Sox will pay him.
The only chance we have is that the Red Sox firing Chaim. They're like, all right, let's turn it around. Let's start buying. If they can get I forget his name. Is it Yoshikawa, the pitcher?
Yeah.
If they can snag him and be like, hey, we've got 2 of your friends, and then he might be like, all right, well, what are you gonna pay me? Then they have to back up the truck. But
yeah, I still think Shohei is going to walk away with $400 million. I think that's fair. I think that's perfectly fair. I think of all players, he probably has the right to ask for that, especially if he pitches. If he doesn't pitch the rest of his career, well, no, it's a different story. But if he just takes 1 year off pitching and you can lock him in, because if you're going to get paid $400 million, I mean, all those contracts are 10, 11, 13 years long. So if he comes back and pitches next year, well, then I think that's easy. I mean, I think I would pay him $400 million, but I would also want a half decent team around him.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he pitched very well this year and his offensive stats, like, I'm pretty sure that's the highest OPS in the league this year, highest slugging percentage in the league. Like, he's just insane.
Yeah, the only like all of the points that I'm seeing is that the Red Sox are in buying mode, but the one red flag I have with that is that, like, I'm a fan of Liverpool. I've been watching what they're doing. They bought more than they usually do last summer, and it seems like they're kind of in a little bit of an investment period where they're starting to give out some of these contracts that they usually don't. And if FSG is doing that with Liverpool, how much are they willing to spend with the Red Sox? Because they've let the Red Sox go over the tax for how long now? They run Liverpool like a business. They are never in the negative. Not a single season are like every single dollar that is transferred out is accounted for and transfers in. It's not like the Red Sox where they're giving all these, I know we've been cutting back, but they give contracts and they don't really sell players to make up for it,
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. They're solely relying on all of their, TV deals and jersey sales and all that. So
Yeah, and they very deservingly gave Devers a lot of money this
yes,
past season. Very deservingly for Devers, but yeah, it does drive that question: just how much is Fenway Sports Group going to be willing to put into this team? I mean, Breslow, the new GM, seems like he's ready to spend, and I hope he is. But we've heard this all before.
I just hope it's smart spending, for the love of God. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because kind of go back to the Angels and how just rough of an organization they are. When they went out and they spent, it was giving Anthony Rendon
oh
$250
God,
million.
one of the worst contracts
I
ever.
mean, and he's old. I mean, he's getting up there, and they gave him a boatload of money. To be fair, he was very good with the Nationals, but
Mhm.
250. That's nuts. And then like another terrible contract that they've done in the past was the freaking Josh Hamilton one. I mean, that was
Yeah,
rough way back in the day. So like
the Pujols one wasn't great.
Pujols one was rough.
It was way too
So
many years.
so like I'm curious to see what Breslow defines as spending. Gleyber
Mhm.
Torres, I like that. I think we need Gleyber Torres. I think Story could live in the DH spot. I think Marcelo Mayer's probably coming up this year, so Marcelo's probably going to be the starting shortstop. Um,
that
and
is, yeah, that's the other hope that they might spend big now because they have so many young guys coming up.
Mhm.
They got a
Cheap
lot.
contracts.
They got Nick York, they got Blaze, they got the guy who I literally just said, Marcelo Mayer. They have some pitchers coming up too whose names elude me, but they're not looking horrible. Bobby Dahlbeck is still another one who maybe, I mean, he was like a home run murderer in
For
friggin' the
Worcester.
minors.
Oh my God, he
Like,
was. Yeah.
I mean, he was like
From
if he
from
could
what he
just
did last year, he's like
if
a
he
good
could
swing
just
player.
if he could just figure out how to, play first base, then we're into something here. But I said this in the chat. I think the hope is that Cassis plays first.
Mhm.
Marcelo plays short. I honestly think that eventually Blaze is going to come up and play third because I think they want Devers to DH. And
That would be
honestly,
preferable.
yeah, he's not as much of a liability as he used to be, but
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
improved.
He's still not good.
He's
He's still not good.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely improved. And then I don't know who plays second. Just Story, Glaber, Nick York. Who knows? Nick York's a couple years out, but I think for sure Marcelo Mayer plays shortstop. So I'm curious to see what the buying is. We don't really have an outfield. I think, not like an amazing outfield at least.
We
Especially
have
if
a
they.
bunch of average guys in the outfield.
Well, my favorite one, and he's not very good, but I love Verdugo. But
Mhm.
Verdugo, they're making it sound like he's pretty much halfway out the door. They're going to trade him. So I'd be curious to see where he goes. Everyone thinks he's going to the Yankees, Gleyber Torres, that kind of whole thing. So I'd be curious. I mean, like I said this in the chat, he'd be a perfect Yankee. He's really good at defense and he can't hit. So I mean, that's like when I think of the Yankees. I mean, even Judge hit 60 home runs, but he strikes out 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So I would just love. I want names. I just want to know like just a couple. Like here's who we're interested in. I saw Jordan Montgomery. That would be great. Oh my God, I'd kill for
Mhm.
Jordan Montgomery.
We need some
So
pitching.
we need pitching bad, especially if Chris Sale is just going to continue to cut his
Yeah.
cut his finger off or break his wrist or whatever the hell he was doing. Freaking jerking off too much. I don't know whatever he was doing in the off season, but I mean, who's even our number one
Yeah,
guy?
'cause you
I
gotta
mean,
look at it
like.
too. Does the
It's
Red Sox stats here that we're looking at, does it show like our average like runs compared to the league? Because I think we were above average on
offensively
runs
there is
scores. Yeah. So as long
solid
as we can get
team.
pitching,
We
it's
are
enough. It's playoffs.
yeah. The Red
Another
Sox
thing
pitching and their defense. Their
to
defense
be
is terrible.
to be fair, we are probably in one of the tougher divisions in the league.
For sure.
Even the Yankees when they suck are still the Yankees, even though we kind of had their number this year. That guy's a killer mustache on the right. I mean, that was nice. Look at that guy.
Oh,
Who?
Game,
I know who that is. I'm kidding. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see like who we're looking at because what was the last like real big free agent? I don't think Story was big. I think Story. I said this in the group chat. Story was only so good because he played in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean
Probably.
the one that stands out to me was Carl Crawford, and that obviously didn't.
Oh
work out at all.
God,
But he was a big
Crawford.
free agent signing.
he was big.
I mean,
There was a lot of them that year. There was
wouldn't call it, like-
Aegon and
I wouldn't call it a big name off the rip, but I mean, JD turned into a big. Oh wait, no. Well, did we trade for sale or did we sign him?
We traded for sale.
we traded Michael Kopech for sale.
Yeah, Kopech and
we
Yon
signed
Yon
JD.
Moncada.
Yon Moncada, yes. Yeah, JD Drew was the signing. That was
not Drew.
JD Martinez.
JD
That's who
Martinez,
came to mind.
yes.
Did we
Yeah,
sign
he
him?
was a big...
He wasn't like a big name. Oh wow, blockbuster, but like he did pretty fucking good for us, you know. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, JD was really good. Yeah, sale was a trade. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Celtics have kind of broken the trend, but I feel like Boston teams don't go after big free agents, and it's a real shame. A lot of the Bruins have started. Celtics broke away with the Kristaps and the Drew and the Drew is a trade, but at least it's a name. You know, like even in the trades, the Red Sox don't come away with much. I mean, I don't harp on the Mookie trade as much as some people because I understand that he was probably forced to do it. And he had to take something.
Mookie was gone after that.
We offered
season.
him 300, and Mookie said no, and then he signed for 330.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
He was gone.
Same thing with Bogarts. Bogarts signed for how much?
That was a terrible deal. Like 12 years.
And like 12, something crazy.
31, 32.
And it's like he's gonna be 40 by the end of that deal. I mean, like that's nuts.
And he didn't have a great year this year either. Like he had an okay year. Okay, maybe he turned it around a bit at the end actually, but
because we offered him like what 230, 240, something like that. Like I'd give him that for sure. But like they offered him like something nuts, and it's like all right, have fun.
No, we offered him 160 over 6 years. Wasn't that what it was, or
something like that? I don't know.
Yeah,
it was in the ones, and it was short. It was like 5 or 6 years, but he wanted 10.
Yeah,
so,
and then the Padres came at him with like 11 years and 250 million, something like that.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. I like he's 30, 280, 11 years. Oh my god.
Yeah, 280, 11 years.
Well, that's Scott Boras for you, I suppose. I mean, that's classic.
Look at those top 3 contracts. Jesus.
Well,
11, 14, 11.
Even
Manny was the first one to really start doing that. Manny was like, because remember, it all happened in like a week. Manny got paid, and and then Bryce Harper got paid even more. And then Mike Trout was like, well, I'm better than all of you. And he got paid even more. Another one that's not, that is also big, but it's not as big because it's short is Juan Soto. They're going to have to pay him that much money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's his last year. Yeah, he's going into his last year of that contract.
How do you not make the playoffs with this team?
They were the biggest disappointment of the MLB season. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you want it South San Diego, baby, friggin' California, like Kevin said. It's just it's in the water.
Yeah,
it's in the smog, the pollution, the wildfire. That's what the smoke's giving up.
The Rams snuck away for 1 year, but they were quickly dragged back down to earth.
Yeah, man, that team is so good on paper. Blake Snell is another free agent. I would love for Blake Snell, but
that's about to win the Cy Young, and
that's a little big. I don't know if the Red Sox.
He's gonna get more money than he should get.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been good. He was a good Ray, but he wasn't. He really came into himself like in the Padres for sure. But yeah, he's a free agent. I mean, the free agent class is not bad. It's really good. A lot of pitching.
Aaron Nola.
That Yoshinobu, who Kevin alluded to. Sonny Gray had a really good season.
Sonny Gray, he's a Cy Young finalist.
Montgomery, Erod is back on the market again. I mean, that's another team that Tigers had a half decent roster and they couldn't do it. Stroman's a sneaky one. I like Marcus Stroman. Giolito, another sneaky one who kind of underperformed, but I like him. Yeah, no, there's a lot of pitching, and if the Red Sox come away with none of it, I think fans should be very upset.
Be very disappointed and very angry.
Just give me one. Just give me at least one.
I'm not even asking for much. I mean, Clayton Kershaw's on here too. I didn't know he's probably just going to sign back though. But like, you know, there's so many names on here, and you're telling me the Red Sox don't command at least one of these guys?
You know what?
Like,
I'm gonna be honest. If we go through this whole free agent class, and I said just give me one, but if the one they give me is Clayton Kershaw, I'm ending it.
what do you mean, Kevin? He'll get us to the playoffs. Get us. And then he'll all right, fellas, I'm going home. And then he'll
be the biggest choker of all time.
My god.
No, you want to talk
can
about
you please pull his ERA from this postseason up?
Horrible.
I know, and
you can just probably look at his last couple games there at the
oh, well, you can check here.
Max Scherzer was another one. He had a rough playoff. He turned it around a tiny bit, but not like Kershaw. Kershaw was terrible.
Postseason pitching, 162.
Jesus,
he got one out and gave up 6 runs. I mean,
oh my god,
career 4.49 ERA in the postseason. He can't get it done.
What's terrible is he's probably because he has that ring. He'll probably be a Hall of Famer. Because regular season,
look at it,
dog.
The year they won it, go back down to it. The year they won it was ERA 7.2.
2020. Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't even good in the playoffs the year they won the World Series. And he had a good World Series there.
To be fair, they didn't need him. Walker Buehler, friggin' Dustin May. I mean, Julio Urias, they were nuts. I'm shocked that team took way too long to win.
Yeah,
way too long.
But yeah, this year with all the injuries to the rotation, they needed him in the postseason, and he just didn't show up.
That is disgusting. 162. Jesus Christ. Those are the type of stats you see from pitchers in like the 20s who were like they came in they walked straight in like out of the bar onto the mound, threw like 3 pitches, but all of them home runs, and then they were like, all right, and then they left.
Yeah.
Baseball, I love looking up baseball stats. It's like, you know, because if you look up like what is the, you know, most passing yards in a game, and it'll be like, oh, Patrick Mahomes in this game, you know, like recent, like the point is it was recent. I love looking at baseball. It's like, what's the longest home run ever? And it's like, oh yeah, Iron Arm Mike Donovan hit a 792-foot home run. It's like, no, he didn't.
No.
And it's like, yeah, back in 1912, Tungsten Arm Smith threw 400 straight innings in a single game. It's like, no way. Every baseball record is from like 1890.
Yeah.
And it's classic. I love it so much.
And Ted Williams allegedly hit that seat.
Oh yeah, that seat. That's like 5 feet away. Yeah, that seat's in another zip code. Like, have you ever
he
sat
did not
there?
hit that
No,
seat.
he didn't. Exactly. Maybe if he got in one of his World War II planes and fucking flew over it, I sat there. My very first Red Sox game, I was like the section over, like in right on the aisle, and I look over and I see the red seat, and I'm like, no, I was like 10. I was like, no way. I was like, there is no shot. This is a mile away.
Yeah. I mean, if these guys who are scientifically like athletic freaks nowadays aren't hitting the ball, there's no way guys back in the
especially in the year where the ball was
early
juiced
1900s.
And, you know, the ball was juiced and everyone was hitting like 60 home runs. It's like, yeah, you're telling me Aaron Judge, who could probably lift Yankee Stadium off the floor, like, you know, like it's different when like Reggie Jackson hit the generator, right, on the roof of the stadium back in the 70s. There's a video of that. All the records that are like unbelievable all happened when there was like not even cars or a camera or engines or like anything, and the life expectancy was 36. And you know, dudes are apparently hitting home runs. You know, friggin'. They also said like the fastest pitch ever, some guy from like the 1902 through like 115. It's like, no, he didn't. His arm would fly off.
Yeah,
that's baseball for you. It's been around a long time.
Yeah. These guys were working 9 to 5s outside of the
They were
baseball
working.
season.
Yeah, they were working in the coal mines in the off season. Classic. Working at the Ford plant over the winter and moving on to hitting baseballs. So much for 90 minutes, fellas.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
listen, it was a
showed me
blast.
like
I
trout.
had fun. Yeah, right.
It was a
I brought
blast.
up baseball and Jay took the wheel and we were off. It was awesome.
I think we're gonna have to start a spin-off series starring Jay and Specs to
Talking
cover the baseball. I used to love baseball as a kid, and
It's a tough
once I
watch.
hit like when I
It
got to
is.
college, I just kind of totally fell off. I don't know what it is. I can't follow it the way I used to.
Yeah.
I got to make an effort next season because it used to be my favorite out of all the sports, and it's fallen off a bit for me.
Well,
It's-
now that games are about half as long as they were,
It's
it's
better.
easier. It's better,
Right.
but it's still hard because baseball. And again, I coach baseball. I coach the school here in town. I play baseball. I love baseball, and even I struggle to watch baseball. Like it's a tough watch, but it is better. So I mean, yeah, let's get into it, boys. I mean, let's watch it, and maybe for Kev, we'll watch some soccer too once a week.
I would love nothing more than to give you guys the starter pack on everything related to football.
Dog.
Yeah,
I
well,
love
you know,
Man City is so good.
when the football
you.
season, American football season's over, you know, we do got to try to keep the podcast going in the off season. So we're gonna have to talk
Need
about
something to talk about.
some of those cool things that we don't, you know, necessarily get to or will get to, you know, during the football season because we lean that way. But
College basketball, baby.
Ah,
Men's water polo?
well,
there you go. Now we're talking.
time to wrap it up, boys.
Yeah, Kevin's like, oh, it's supposed to be 90 minutes, guys.
I know
Yeah.
what we go 2 hours at least.
Let's
2
push it
hours,
a little
9
bit
minutes, and
faster.
5 seconds.
Whatever.
I got some COD to
blast.
play with my boy Jay tonight.
All right,
Oh,
gentlemen,
what do you
wrap
do?
it up. Wrap it up, Noah.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, people. If you're still here with us live, lurking, listening, thank you. As a reminder, this podcast will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts tomorrow. Tomorrow being Saturday, November 11th. No, 11/11. We should be live again, same time next Friday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. If that changes, we will know, and we will tell people and see when we go live next. If it's not then, yeah. For your boys at 4QWI, thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Jay, you gotta like wave to the camera or something, just anything. My man's just like skulking.